So this is a breakdown on CPUs and desktop, right? So we are doing this video to show you every part of this machine. Um, First of all, this is called your motherboard. This whole black surface here, this whole black machine with this omen. This is what is the brain of the system. So everything gets connected to this, and including the ports. Like all of these here are ports. This you can watch these parts carefully. These are ports. This is the fan. What the fan does is to ensure the whole system is cool. So apart from the motherboard, right, we have so many other parts because for a system you need power, you need a lot of stuff, right? So this is what generates that power. This is called a power pack, power adapter, power unit, anything you want to call it. But this is the name. This is your power unit. So what this does, it gives power to every component on the system. This is going into, you can see, these are cables coming from it, all this part here. So as you can see, some cables are running to here, which this place is called your GPU. So what your GPU does basically is just to process uh, media basically. So all the graphics and all of that computing is handed over from the CPU and the motherboard to this. So there's actually a place where this is connected down here, but I'm not able to show you because I'm using a stationary camera and all of that. So yeah, so as you can see, there's still some cables that are running here. These power the motherboard, and there are more, way more, like going into the hard drive, going into the fans, and all of that. So we've talked about the power unit. We've talked about the graphics processing unit, which is called the GPU. So what the GPU does, like we said before, processes graphics basically. So this would involve screens. It will involve, let's say, we are rendering stuff on vMix or OBS. This will do the job. Anything that just has to do with media and even sound sometimes, sound, videos, screens, all of that is here. And by that, right, once you plug your your desktops to the motherboard, which is here. Wait, let me get that for you. So if you plug your screens here, as you can see, there is, okay, this particular unit doesn't even have display ports anywhere here, right? Because you're not actually meant to plug anything on your motherboard. So earlier today we were doing some tests and some people plugged their their motherboard. They plugged their displays to their motherboard and they struggled and struggled and struggled and it never worked and will never work until you plug it here. This is where you have your GPU. So all of these are spaces for you to add extra stuff. So sometimes you might actually need to add more than one GPU or maybe just extra component. So this is where you can add that. So these are your regular ports. All of these are linked to your motherboard. There's also another port at the front here, which I'll show you later. But here, this is where you connect your power pack. So I think we are good to continue looking inside. Okay, so the graphics processing unit powers basically, actually, I should say more than 60% of computing on your computer because from your screens to all of that is just basically media. So here you have this is the motherboard. This is the motherboard. One second. Like we said, this is the motherboard. This whole black compartment where everything is attached, right? Um, but this here is called a heat sink. So what it does is it tries to trap the heat from the CPU because the CPU gets very hot whenever it's working, right? So under this you have the CPU, you have thermal paste and all of that, just trying to get it cool. So your CPU is down here. I think this uses a Core i7 12 Gen, a K, a KSQ or so. So yeah. So apart from that, we have many other stuff down here, right? Like for example, we have this is the RAM. This is the RAM here. This these two sticks are called the RAM. This is where your hard drive is. There are so many other things you can connect, right? Because like even look at this space. This space for you to add another hard drive. Apart from this hard drive, there is another um, there's another drive that I am unable to uh, locate, right? But you can actually add more. You can add more. You can add more storage here, somewhere here, because if you look at this portion is called SSD. So yeah, um, are we missing anything? Okay, the fans, right? They are connected to the motherboard, like we said before. They help to keep the system cool. They also trap a lot of dust because they actually help in preventing the bulk of that dust to get to your components. So you're not missing anything again, right? Apart from the thermal paste and all of that, as you can see, most systems are cooled using air, basically. Like you have the fans, you have fans all over the system. But added to that, since this system was built for performance, right? We also have liquid cooling. So if you notice, this is a pipe here. There's a pipe. There's a pipe. See copper pipes here. So they move liquid around the CPU and all of that to ensure that the whole system is cool. So I think that's everything about this. Is there any extra questions? No questions. So this is our heatsink. Sorry, this is our power unit. This is the GPU. There are also fans on the GPU. So um, let me see if I can show you. If you can watch these parts, these are the fans here. So the GPU also gets very hot during the workflows and all of that. So it's very mandatory to cool down your system that's all time. So I think if we view it together in person, we might be able to understand the rest of the stuff and probably get more questions. So, till we see. Okay.
You talked about the neural processing unit. So please, where is that? Where is that installed here in the UPS?
Okay. About neural processing units, I mentioned that it is used for AI, but older systems like this don't actually have MPUs, dedicated MPUs. So what they do is they will share that workflow between the CPU and the GPU. So GPU actually in the olden days, before GPUs were a thing, uh, CPUs used to do everything from graphics to all of that. But they discovered that certain portions of the CPU do better with maybe graphics, all of that. So what they just do is they've now made a portion of this, maybe enlarged that portion of the CPU and then created a GPU from it and just made it to be dedicated for just graphics. So equally, these two still have the power to run AI, but I believe GPUs are stronger for AI than CPUs are. So again, they just made um, um, another processing unit, another like CPU. Basically, it's actually like a chip. They are called chips. So, but the chip is optimized and processed for just AI stuff. So that's that.
Okay, sorry, I have another question. I happen to be among the team that was trying to like install the UPS. We put the cable through the the motherboard, but it didn't send out graphics until we had to put it. So, but you just said now that the motherboard was the one like doing everything before. So why is it that it didn't show any display until I put it in the?
Okay, so once you have a GPU on board, once you have a GPU on any system of any sort, actually the display ports on the motherboard will stop working. So that's why it doesn't work. However, I believe there might still be some boards that would do that. I believe there are still some boards that would you could connect your displays and then they work. So are we good?
Yes.
You don't have any question? I know. Funiba.